some more just to be sure.
There you go.
Good job, Ken. All right, so while we're waiting for him, I'm going to mute everybody. And if you have a question, you can either raise your own hand, or there's a little reaction button on your toolbar that you can do a little hand wave from there, or you could send a message in your chat. So, chat button down the bottom as well.
Okay, I'm back. All right. Do I hit continue on this recording thing?
Yes.
All right. Everybody hear me? Okay. Patty muted y'all. She's good at muting people. Okay. So I want to thank everybody for coming. This is Friday Night Live with JPJ. Okay. That's John, Patty, and Jenna. Okay, we're here every Friday night until this thing lifts. Put a smile on your face, make everybody happy. Okay, so let's learn some stuff today. Let's share some information and pretend like the world is good. Okay. Anybody help me figure out why my mic doesn't not work? You see that? There's a chat. That's Kim. Okay. All right. I can see Kim, but she can't speak. That might be a good thing. Just kidding. Okay. I just want to thank again everybody for being here. You know, we hear all the time about all the heroes for all this COVID and everything that's going on, and I agree that there are heroes out there, but I'm going to tell you who the heroes are. The heroes are you people. The heroes are the people that take care of themselves, that were taking care of themselves before this ever happened. Because I read an article that 98% of all the deaths that are happening are people that had underlying medical issues, okay? And if we take care of ourselves before the pandemic starts, then we're going to be so much healthier and the risk is reduced. All right. So you people are the heroes, not us, not anybody else, but you people that are taking care of yourself, looking out for yourself and loving yourself enough to take care of your immune system, let your body be healthy and heal the little things before the big things ever come down the pipe. And that's why I'm proud to look at every single one of you and know that you're working really hard on your health and you love yourself enough to keep doing it. Because I'm going to tell you, when this is over, there's going to be more. It doesn't end. All right. So we have to understand that we have to take care of ourselves. Dr. Nelson, I was talking to Dr. Nelson on the phone, I believe it was Sunday. We had a long conversation. And for those of you who were on last week, you had an opportunity to listen to her. And her and I were talking about some things. And, you know, she said, the main thing you have to remember is you cannot cure a disease. You have to prevent it. And that's what it's all about, prevention. So what we're going to talk about tonight is we all are going to eat. Okay, we all have to have food. We all have to eat. And what do we do and how do we do it so that we get the best value out of that food? And that's the important thing is we can eat good food and think we're eating right, but sometimes we just don't know. Somebody was in a foot bath today and we were talking and she said that they bought some stuff and they thought it was good, but after they took it home and they really looked at the ingredients, they realized all the stuff that's in it. And that is, actually, I think that was Maureen, to be honest with you. Am I right, Maureen? You're muted. Okay, just nod your head, okay? It was you. And she said, you know, I got some stuff and I looked thought it was good because the marketing said all natural, pure, this and that. But you have to look deeper. You have to look at what we're putting in our body, because marketing is a very, very powerful thing. And people do things just on the word of somebody on TV, or the word of something written on a package, or a clerk in a store saying, oh yeah, that's good. Most of them don't know. So my job is to educate you on what you need to be putting in your body on a regular basis. So what we're going to do is, with Patty's help, we put together a slide presentation, and we're going to go into that. If you have questions, I think if everybody looks down on their system, you'll have a chat button, and you can write a comment or you can write a question, and I'll try to address it. And we'll keep people muted, because that way there's not the background noise, as I know everybody's home and there could be, you know, children or pets or whatever. So we're just going to kind of go that way. Now, first thing we want to talk about, we just want to talk about how do we get nutrition from our food, okay? Now, we're not going to talk about the places to eat. I'm not going to tell you don't go to McDonald's. If you're still in that mode, then I failed you big time, okay? So, you know, we're going to talk about the food that you buy, the good food that you buy. How do you get the most nutrition? Because, tell me, all of you should know that the reason we eat is one thing. One reason we eat, all right? Now, I know somebody's going to say because food tastes good, okay? But really, we eat to get nutrition, because nutrition is the fuel of our body. It fuels everything about our body, our muscles, our blood, our brain, everything. Without nutrition, there's no sense in eating. Actually, if you don't get nutrition from your food, what happens is you're actually harming your body. So we have to understand that it's not about eating, it's about nutrition, okay? So we're gonna go into and talk about nutrition and the 5 ways that we can get nutrition from food. Now, first of all, we have to nourish in order to flourish, okay? And if you want to flourish in your life in all aspects, mentally, physically, and spiritually, you have to nourish the body. Okay. Okay. First and foremost, as much as you can, you want to eat locally grown food, and soon after it's been picked. All right. I know this time of year we're not getting a lot of fresh food, straight from the garden, straight from the farm shops in the local area. But when you can, that's what you want to eat, because when things are fresh, that's when it has all the vitamins and minerals. Plus, it's much tastier. If you've ever noticed that in the summertime, when you go to the farm stand and you get something fresh and you eat it, the taste is so much better. All right. I have a gentleman came in and he bought some farm fresh eggs that we have. And he called me the next day and he said, you know what, I cracked the eggs and the yolks were like, they were orange. And he said, I got worried. I thought, what's wrong with these things? So he said, I called somebody and they said, well, that's a color they're supposed to be if they're fresh. And he told me, he said, I've never seen an orange yolk. I've always seen yellow. Okay, but yellow means it's older. It's been sitting around longer. And that's the stuff that we buy most of the time in our grocery stores. They're not fresh. So you want to get your fresh vegetables, you want to get your fresh fruits, and you don't want to let them sit around for a long time, because the longer that they're separated, the more nutritional value that they lose. Okay, so once they leave the ground, once they leave the tree, once they leave wherever they were growing, they start losing the nutrition. So again, people will tell you that by the time you pick up fresh fruit or vegetable at the grocery store, it may have lost 15 to 60% of many of the vitamins. So let's think about that. If you lose 60% of the vitamins, what happened is you're only getting 40%, 40% at best of the nutrition that you think you're getting because you're eating those radishes or you're eating the celery or carrots, okay? So when you buy this stuff, you want to try to buy enough or just enough to be able to eat it within 72 hours of the harvest in order to get the most nutrients out of them. Myself, I spent time overseas, and I used to be amazed at people every day they would go to the market, and it was normally an outside market, but they would go every day, and I thought to myself, of course I was young and foolish then, but I thought to myself, you know, why don't they just get enough for a week? But after studying and learning, you realize the reason is they were a lot smarter than we are. They go every day because it's fresh. Whether it's meat, whether it's vegetables, it was fresh. And therefore, what they put in their body was much more nutrition and the fuel was much better. Okay, number 2, you want to store your fruits and vegetables the right way. So, what you want to do is you want to balance 2 things. Make it easy to eat your plants. Keep the fruits and vegetables where you're most likely to see them, okay? I'll bet you anything that almost everybody that's listening at one time or another has put fruits and vegetables away somewhere, and then one day opened something up and went, oh, I forgot I had these. And then what happened was they were either spoiled, they were soft and about ready to spoil, etc. That means you've lost at least 60% of the nutrients in them. You want to slow down your nutrient loss by keeping them out of heat, keep them away from excess light, and actually oxygen degrades nutrients. So therefore, when you put them in your refrigerator, you have normally what you call a crisper. And the crisper is to keep the oxygen away from them so that they will actually stay fresh longer. Don't leave them on your countertop. You know, I said make sure that you can see them, but don't leave them on your countertop so that you think you're going to see them, especially if you're not going to eat them right away. Put them away in the crisper, but keep looking and reminding yourself of what you have, okay? All the vegetables except those of the root variety, okay? How many of you probably know what root variety is, but I'll kind of tell you what root variety is. That those are things that grow out of the ground and have the root into the ground. You want to keep them in the refrigerator until you need them. The root variety you do not have to keep in the refrigerator. You can actually keep them out of the refrigerator because they don't lose. Most of them have a thicker skin, and therefore they don't lose a nutritional value as fast as most other things. All fruits, which includes tomatoes, because tomato is a vegetable, okay? A lot of times people think tomatoes are a fruit, but it's not, okay? I've never had a tomato in a fruit salad, so therefore we can remember that, all right? Keep all berries, keep all fruits except berries at room temperature away from direct light. You want to cut all fruits and vegetables. And if you do, you take a squeeze of lemon juice on them and put them in an airtight container. So what happens is when you cut vegetables, it's very much like juicing. The people that juice, we tell them when you juice vegetables, fruits and vegetables, you want to drink it immediately, because the reason is once you break things down, you lose the digestive enzymes and you lose the nutrients out of them, okay? So what happens is if you're going to cut up your fruits and veggies, you want to put them in an airtight container and put some lemon in. Just squeeze a little bit of lemon on it and put them in. Regardless of the fruit or vegetable, you might think, well, I don't want lemon juice on my vegetables. Once you cook them and eat them, you're not going to taste it, okay? And it slows down the decay. All herbs, for those of you who pick herbs, I know there's a few of you out there, okay? They have amazing phytonutrients. The best way to do it is chop them up, freeze them in an ice cube tray with water, and you'll maintain most of the nutrients that are in those supplements. So if you do those kind of things, when you do eat them, then you're getting the nutrition that you absolutely need from that fruit and or vegetable. All right. Did I have any questions yet? Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Patty. Why don't you take this one?
All right, so enzymes. I think we all know at this point from being around alternative health that we need enzymes to break down our foods. So certain foods like onions and garlic have lots of enzymes, but you need to get the enzymes out of the veggie by cutting it, chopping it, crushing it, juicing it. All right, so cutting up fruits and veggies, it frees up nutrients because it breaks down the cell walls of the plant. And that helps digest better in the body. Garlic and onion releases allanase, which is an enzyme. Okay, lots of different enzymes. If you look at the Melise enzyme supplement, there's like protease and the other one, different enzymes within that to help your body. John's got a bottle handy there. So, and also soaking your beans and grains, okay, that reduces the phytic acid. The phytic acid will block the absorption of certain nutrients that the body needs. So another reason to chop up that garlic, dice those onions, and get more of those in your foods. And again, juicing is awesome because you get all the enzymes from those veggies immediately when you juice and drink it right away. And when you juice, you're taking away the fiber, which helps to just get all those nutrients right in your body without the fiber taking time to digest.
So, I'll go back. One thing that I want to piggyback on what Patty talked about, one of the things I tell people, stay away from grains, okay? Stay away from grains as much as you can. The reason is because a lot of your grains actually block the absorption of the different nutrients. So when somebody says I'm low on iron, calcium, different magnesium, stuff like that, that can be caused by overconsumption of grains. So you really want to consider, as we talk about all the time, and I know that grains have been a staple in our diet. It's easy, it's quick to grab something, but the problem is that if you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to get yourself healthy, it can actually be very detrimental. So based on that, the soaking is very important if you're going to have the grains, but you really want to try to stay away from grains as much as you can. Okay. So, okay, the next one is raw versus cooked. All right. So, how is the best way to eat fruits and veggies, or because we're talking about fruits and vegetables primarily? What is the best way to eat them? Number one, for nutrition, if you can juice, that is number one. All right. Juicing actually gives you the most nutrients. Now I'm talking about pure juicing. That's where you have a mastic juicer, and what happens is a masticating juicer, and what happens is it separates the pulp from the juice. And that is the way you get the most. So when I put somebody normally on a fibromyalgia program, a arthritic program, we make people actually juice for up to 7 straight days, no solid food, after they do their liquid detox. Because what happens is you get the nutrition directly into the body. But a lot of times it's very difficult for people to juice with work schedules, etc. So for everyday ideas. When we start eating fruits and veggies, the best way is eat raw. As much as you can, eat raw. Why? Because heat takes away nutrients. When you go to a restaurant and you have vegetables, a lot of times that those vegetables have been on the stove for a long time. And what they do is you order something and the vegetable of the day is green beans or whatever it might be, and they come out and normally they're very, you don't have to chew them, okay? And the problem with that is they have no nutrition. In fact, when that happens and they're overcooked, they actually become a stressor to the body because the body has to break things down and it has absolutely no nutritional value. So therefore, you've lost all your B vitamins, your folate, your vitamin C, that's actually gone. So you want to try to eat raw as much as you can. So things like sunflower seeds, peas, beet greens, and Brussels sprouts, okay, have great sources of vitamin B1. So people that are looking for their B vitamins, you can get an idea of what foods you can eat to get those particular B vitamins. Broccoli, cauliflower, kale, avocado, sources of vitamin B5. Now, I'm going to jump here because avocados, a lot of times you go in the store and you'll find avocados and you'll want to get some, but they're all hard, they're not ripe yet, etc. I learned a trick from Patty, actually, okay, and I complained about it and said, put them in a drawer without any sunlight or any light at all for about 2 days. Just don't forget them because in a couple days they'll get soft, okay? And if you forget them for a week, you're going to reach in for one of your towels, your kitchen towels, and you're going to have a soggy avocado. So you want to remember they're there, but they will ripen much faster if you put them somewhere like that rather than leave them on the counter, okay? Spinach, turnip greens, broccoli, sources of folate. Bell peppers, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts, great sources of vitamin C. So a lot of times people think that the only way to really get good vitamin C is through fruit, and that is untrue, okay? So you can get a lot of vitamin C through vegetables. And again, it's generally best eaten raw to maximize the absorption of the water-soluble nutrients. However, if you don't want to eat raw, for whatever reason, many people say, I just like them warm, I like them heated. So you want to take them, blanch them, steam them, saute them, roast them. Just don't overcook them. You want to have crunch. The crunch means there's still nutrients within them, all right? So try that. Grill them. You can grill vegetables. You just don't want to overcook. Spinach, raw spinach. We talk a lot about eating spinach. Don't overcook spinach. I like cooked spinach, but raw spinach actually contains 3 times more vitamin C than cooked spinach. So if you're looking for the vitamin C, if you're looking for the true nutrients and health, then you want to eat raw rather than cook, all right? So you lose the vitamins when you boil, all right? Now, number 5, we are going to talk a little bit about, Dr. Nelson mentioned last week, she said to everybody, you should talk to me about certain way of eating and certain types of foods. So this was developed by Dr. Wally Nelson, and who is Dr. Linda Nelson's son, who obviously is a doctor, but I call him Dr. Nelson. But he named it Vitivore, and I won't go into what Vitivore means because it's immaterial at this point. But he says if you eat these foods, for those of you who are trying to get yourself back on track, you're trying to eat the right foods, etc. He talks about the 17 different foods, and they call them the superfoods. And the superfoods means these give you the most nutrients that you can get in a food. Dr. Nelson will tell you that if you eat these foods and only these foods, you don't mix them with other things for the most part, for 14, I say 14 days. I think he says 17 days, but I'll tell you 14 days and just make it easy, okay? 2 weeks. There's no need to weigh, measure any foods in this program. No need to count calories and try to figure out macronutrients. No need for strange recipes or meal plans. Basically, what you want to do is eat when you're hungry, stop when you're satisfied, and predominantly, or most of you know my belief, if you're going to do it all the way. Eat from the 17 superfoods food groups. Okay, and we're going to get into what those food groups are. Obviously, water is still important. There is never a time when we can say you don't have to drink water. Okay. There's actually 4 different food groups. And right now we're going to talk about the superfood and the abundant food groups, okay? Basically, we want to get rid of what he calls the lifeless foods. And the lifeless foods are foods that we're going to talk about briefly, but they're the once in a great while, when a treat perhaps, but not all the time, all right? So let's go into the foods, all right? The superfoods, the 17 superfoods. Number 1 is wild caught salmon. Now, please understand it is wild. You must read before you purchase, and they will have, and people behind the counter will tell you it doesn't matter. It does matter. There is a reason why it's wild versus farm raised. Farm raised are raised in a way where they include a lot of steroids and a lot of different things in them to get these fish to grow faster. So wild caught salmon, spinach, kale. Now, as we talked a little bit earlier, it's best to eat the spinach and kale raw. But again, if you saute them or cook them in light, it is okay. Berries. Now, when I say berries, I'm going to tell you it is strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. Those are the berries that you want, all right? So you want to have berries, not all fruit. So not all fruit has the same amounts of vitamin C. These are super, all right? Avocados. Avocados are fabulous. I hope most of you like avocados. I like to take an avocado, bring it to work for lunch, cut it in half, and just take a spoon and eat it straight from the shell, all right? A lot of people don't. They like little pieces in salads, but however you like it, eat avocados. Mushrooms. Mushrooms are very, very nutrient laden, okay? Now, some of you are going to say, well, you know what? There was a time when you told me not to eat mushrooms, and you are 100% right. But over the years, the studies have been done that, mushrooms are very valuable to you regardless of what program you're on. In fact, Dr. Nelson made a comment and he said, even though mushrooms are a fungi, that's okay, but they're not mold, okay? All mold is bad for you, but not all fungi is bad, all right? So you can eat mushrooms. Grass-fed butter. A lot of times people are afraid of butter, but I see a comment about olive oil, and we will get to that, okay? Grass-fed butter, grass-fed beef, bison, the wild game, all right? Again, you want grass-fed. You do not want farm-raised, simply because Again, they do the same thing with farm raised. They want turnover. They want quick turnover. So people that go deer hunting, and I know it's probably some frowns, wrinkled nose about venison or whatever. Excellent game nutrients. Okay, raw plain yogurt and kefir. It's the plain yogurt is excellent for you. Kiwi. Kiwi is something I had not really eaten much. I can't say much, none of, until Dr. Nelson talked about this. But kiwi is actually a very tasty fruit. It's kind of a small fruit, and it takes a little more work, I think, to get it. But it is a very tasty fruit and very good for you. Bone broth. Now, I know Heather does bone broth, and that's excellent. But bone broth, good organic bone broth is very, very healthy. Organic pastured eggs, in other words, farm-raised eggs, where the yolks are orange, okay, rather than white. You want orange eggs, and you want them fresh. So again, when you buy your eggs, if you get them from a farmer, don't buy 4, 5, 6 dozen and think you're going to save them. You want to get them often, use them, and because if they're selling them right, what will happen is you'll get them a couple of day or two after the eggs are laid. So you want them. Yeah. Fermented cabbage, okay, sauerkraut, kimchi. Now, obviously, if you're on a candida program, you're not going to have anything fermented. So I'm just going to tell you that if you're on a candida regiment, this would not pertain to you. Coconut oil. Coconut oil, I just want to tell you that coconut oil has to be unprocessed. If you look in the store, you will see coconut oil that is processed and organic unprocessed. Just like everything else, we have to look at all ingredients. So I want you to make sure when you get coconut oil, you're getting the unprocessed coconut oil. Onions and shallots. Now, I personally love onions, and I like to saute them, but I still like a lot of crunch. I know I've talked to Patty, and she doesn't like them with crunch. She likes them soggy and goofy. But some people, but onions and shallots. Go ahead, take yourself off of mute. Say. While we're still young.
I'm sorry. I like my onions caramelized.
Yeah. So there's less nutrients in them that way, okay? So I'm not going to tell you to follow Patty's lead, but you're better off eating onions that are sauteed or raw. Broccoli, excellent vegetable, and sprouts. So those are the 17 super foods. Okay, now I saw some questions come across. What were the questions?
That's avocado oil and olive oil.
Well, avocado oil I think would be okay within reason, because avocados, as long as it's pure, but the studies show that it's not as good as the coconut oil. But the olive oil, for the person asked that, is going to come on the next list, all right? Olive oil is not a bad oil, but right now I'm talking about the 17 best foods for nutrition. Please don't think I'm saying don't use olive oil, okay? But if you're looking for the very best, then it would be coconut oil, all right? What was another question?
Well, Ian's going to make strawberry kiwi margaritas and invite us all over.
By what?
Ian is going to make strawberry kiwi margaritas and invite us all over.
Okay, well, I'm in, okay? I'm in for those margaritas, all right? Now, one thing that if you take your berries, and I've been doing the last few nights, and in fact, I brought some in for Patty yesterday. I take the berries and I take the yogurt. I put yogurt, I put the berries in, and I take the instant meal. So the other night, and last night I did it well, but the other night I brought some in so I'd have enough to bring in. And I took the chocolate instant meal, I took yogurt, and I took strawberries. And I put them in a bullet. And I just ran that for about, 2-3 minutes. So it was virtually liquefied. And then I put it in the freezer and let it freeze for about, 15 minutes. I'm telling you, that's the best ice cream you'll ever eat in your life. It is so good. All right. So there's a way to do that, and you can, and I like the chocolate with a strawberry. A few days ago, I took raspberries, and I did it with a vanilla. Same thing, and it's delicious. Okay. So there's ways that you can make them. You don't have to sit down and just eat a bowl of berries. Sometimes I get people saying, well, I like to have berries with sugar on them and milk. Okay, well, you've kind of depleted the nutrients out of that, but you can do other things and add to them and get some of your protein, balanced blood sugar that way, and it's a great, great dessert or an evening snack that's not going to keep you awake. All right, so that is a one way to use them. Okay. And what other question we have?
Someone asked about if you buy fresh farms and are not organic, we're concerned with potential pesticides.
Well, yes. You know, anybody can say organic. Anybody can say anything. My suggestion is, number one, anytime you buy fruits and vegetables, you want to wash them and wash them good. One way to wash them is to use a little bit of apple cider vinegar, just a little bit with water, wash them, and then rinse them really well. You can also use water and a little bit of hydrogen peroxide, and then rinse them real well. There's different ways. I don't take for granted anything about pesticides, insecticides. I'm more agreeable when I buy them from a place I know. But if you're getting from the grocery store, I for sure would wash them very, very well before you eat them. I used to have the bad habit of buying fruits and vegetables, driving home and be nibbling on them as I was driving home. But the problem is, if they're not washed and taken care of properly, then what happens is you have very high incidence of pesticides, insecticides. And when I do the Zyto testing, so many times we see that in people's foods, that their body is fighting that and struggling with those kind of things. Okay? Okay. What other question? I see one, are mixed greens and lettuce superfoods? Okay. No, the superfoods are the ones listed: spinach, kale. Your other vegetables are not considered superfoods. And again, they're not bad. Don't get me wrong, they're not bad, but they're not considered in the super. And as we go to the next slide, you'll see the next one that'll tell you the next group. Okay. Go ahead. So this is the abundance. Okay. Now the abundance is you can eat them, no problem, but they don't have as much nutrients as the 17 superfoods. So if a person is saying, okay, you know what? I just want to eat stuff for 14 days, I would say you would want to eat the superfoods for 14 days, maybe a little bit of the abundance, which is raw nuts and seeds, and recognize it says raw. It's your other vegetables, your other fruits, organic poultry, organic unpasteurized whole dairy. Now, I'm going to just say that if you're going to go whole dairy, I'm going to tell you to stick with cottage cheese, cream cheese, and of course your yogurt's fine. That's on the superfoods. And cottage cheese, cream cheese, and goat cheese. Okay. So, you know, please don't buy unpasteurized milk. All right. We're all lactose intolerant, so let's really get that through our head that we don't want to do that. Wild caught seafood, again, wild is a key word. Now, other than the large warm water fish, and when we talk to people about the Malise salmon oil, it's cold water Arctic salmon oil. The reason is warm water or close to the shore, high mercury. Mercury is something that a lot of people have. They don't realize it, and what happens is the body has to fight itself in order to take care of itself to get rid of mercury, and mercury can be dangerous, okay, to the body. So if you're going to eat a lot of things like shrimp, lobster, stuff like that, you have a higher risk of mercury in those kind of fish. I'm not saying never eat them, but I'm saying that you want to limit the amount. Oils, for the person that asked about the oils, olive oil, avocado oil, grapeseed oil. Those are your next best oils. Of course, water and tea. Now, I know on here it says organic coffee. I'm sorry, I am not a fan of coffee. If you're going to drink coffee, the only organic coffee I recommend is when people do coffee enemas, okay? So if you're going to do that, help yourself. I'm just not into the organic, any type of coffee. I used to drink coffee. I had to come off of coffee, and the terrible headaches I had, I decided I'm never eating or drinking coffee again. So I do not recommend coffee, even if it's on there, with all due respect to Dr. Nelson or anybody else. So eat these foods when you're hungry until you are satisfied. Okay, they do support health and well-being and act as a foundational diet to support the Super 17, but you want the Super 17 to be the basics when we eat. And really, when we eat, that's what we want to be looking at is a super. The abundance are fine. The next group, do we have any questions? Okay. All right, well.
Oh, me? Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to bring out about coffee.
Mhm.
I hate to say it, but I do drink decaffeinated coffee, organic decaffeinated coffee. However, I only found maybe just half a dozen companies, even organic, that don't use methylene chloride to decaffeinate their coffee. So there's only a few that use the Swiss water process, which if you're going to drink coffee, or especially organic, especially decaf, make sure it's decaffeinated by the Swiss water process.
Okay. I'm going to say this, and Meryl, I love you to death, but
Okay.
there is no such thing as a decaffeinated bean. Okay,
Yeah,
they have to use something other than water to get rid of the caffeination. Okay,
right,
the caffeine.
right.
So I'm going to tell you that, in my opinion, if you are going to drink coffee, you're better off drinking organic coffee with the caffeine. And if you tell me that, well, the caffeine bothers me, makes me anxious, then my next thing is drink water. Okay? Warm it up and pretend like it's coffee. All right?
Okay.
Get our instant meals, the mocha, okay? Tastes like coffee. But don't drink decaffeinated coffee of any sort, okay? Just like you don't eat low-fat yogurt. You don't eat low-fat anything, because there has to be something else in it in order to take that away and let it taste the way you want it to taste, okay? So I highly, highly recommend that we not drink it, okay? So, any other questions that I need to address? Okay, go ahead, next slide. Moderation. Now, moderation, whole grains, I'd like to see whole grains not even on the moderation, okay? Corn, all of you that have been through our programs know we say corn is no. Make fuel out of corn, not put it in your body, all right? But whole grains. It's got to be whole grain if you're going to do it, but in moderation. A little bit of oatmeal once in a while, okay, I can live with that, but you don't want to make that the grains a habit. There's not the nutrients. We talked a little bit earlier about grains and what they do. And Maureen, if you're on here, I hope you're listening to this part really, really special. No grains, okay? Beans and legumes. Beans and legumes are, you know, they're not a bad food, but it's not something that you want to just overdo. A lot of ethnic groups eat a lot of beans and rice. And really, there's not a lot of nutrients when it comes to that. You can get the protein from the beans, but if you're going to do them, you want to really get them so you soak them and you eat them that way. You don't want to buy cans of beans because now you've lost your nutrients. Peanut butter, again, I'm not a fan of peanut butter, even though I used to be a peanut butter holic, along with the jelly and the bread. And that's why I weighed 250 pounds, but you know, that enough said. Almond butter, if you're gonna have it, do almond butter. Organic pasteurized dairy, we already addressed that. Alcohol, moderate. Okay, I'm not gonna tell you never have a drink, but when I talk to people and I ask them how often do you have a glass of wine, and I'm told, you know, I'll have a glass of wine every night because that's what makes me relax. That's not moderate, even if it is one glass. Okay, alcohol should be a treat. Should be something that you do when you're, you know, you just celebrating something because there's no nutrients in it and there's no sense in putting it in your body much more than in a moderate way. Natural sweeteners like honey, agave, pure maple syrup, okay? Moderate, again, I like the pure maple syrup, and I probably use that more than what the moderation would be, and I don't apologize for that, only because it is pure, and it's a sweetener that I like, and I don't think you're really gonna overdo pure maple syrup. Although I do have one client that was telling me she was going through a gallon a week by herself. That's a little bit high, but you know, I don't know, drinking out of the jug I don't think is the right way to do it. Anyways, but it's better than eating candy, that much candy. So again, these are foods at moderate amounts. They're not particularly damaging to health as long as they're kept moderate. They don't offer a lot of vital nutrients. And then we have our fourth group, which is the lifeless five. A lot of these are self-explanatory: refined sugars, refined grains, chemical artificial sweeteners, trans fats, hydrogenated oils. Now, if you're shopping in the grocery store, I guarantee you that these five are the easiest ones to find, okay? Because they are in virtually everything. When you go to fast foods or eat out, you are going to get a lot of these lifeless fives in your diet. That is why that people that eat out all the time will never be healthy, never, okay? Because restaurants use these because it lowers cost. And unless you go to your very, very high-end restaurants, but your average restaurants that I would go to, this is the kind of things that you're going to find in your foods. So understand it, learn to read the ingredients and understand what you're putting in your body. You know, there used to be an old saying, it was called GIGO, G-I-G-O, garbage in, garbage out. And if we keep pumping garbage in our body's going to break down. If we put the food in our body that has a high nutrients, and we ingest it the proper way, we use digestive enzymes to break everything down, then we are going to be much healthier just by eating. Now, please understand that you're not going to get all your nutrients from food. It's impossible, okay? So you're able to take a lot less, perhaps, nutrient supplements if you eat the first two categories much in great volume. than you would if you eat the Lifeless 5. If you're getting hung up on the Lifeless 5, let me tell you, you need to be on our daily 6 plus a whole lot more, and you need to detox about every other week. Just kidding, okay? But you need to do more. So, like it says on the bottom, these foods not only offer no vital nutrients, they to support your well-being, they actually are damaging to your health, okay? So you really, really want to limit them, almost eliminate them completely virtually, okay? Okay, any other questions that came up? No questions? I have 13 on my thing. Okay, I got, with all the news about poultry and beef scare, does that hold true to organic poultry and grass-fed beefs? I will answer that with a, if you get organic, grass-fed beef and poultry, we have to believe in something. And as I tell everybody all the time, we cannot live in fear, okay? You can only get the very best you can get. If you can't get organic, because they don't have it now with what's going on, get the very best you can, okay? But stay away from the Lifeless 5. I'm the type who's going to say, you know what, I heard about the meat plants and all that. Okay, well, that's too bad. You know, there might be a shortage of meat. I'm sure some people have heard that, and they went and they stockpiled. You know, they put it next to all their toilet paper, whatever. But people are going to do that, and you might have trouble finding it. Just get the very best you can, and don't worry. Cook it properly, and my belief is you're going to be fine if you're doing everything else right. All right? Can coconut oil raise cholesterol as a saturated fat? I read different opinions. That is coming from Judy. As Dr. Linda Nelson would say, I think she would say that's old school. Obviously, if you take coconut oil and you eat it by the spoonful, you know, as she said last week, you can overdo anything. I mean, let's face it. But no, the thing that you want to do is you want to, you can use it for cooking. I would tell you that if you eat the 17 superfoods and stay with the top 2 list, use coconut oil and some olive oil, you're going to be just fine. Okay? Anything else? Soak in the water. Why not? We already answered that. Okay. Muriel, do you have a question?
Yeah, where does stevia fit in as far as sweeteners?
Pure stevia is a good sweetener. That would fall into your second category. Okay. So if you get pure stevia with nothing else in it, just a stevia leaf, that is a good sweetener. Now, is that to put in your organic decaffeinated coffee?
Yes.
I figured as much.
Sorry.
Okay, for you, you don't need it, okay? Okay. Okay, what? Yes. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, we have a sweetener. It's called Sweet. Everybody seen it? We have a sweetener called Sweet. I use this. I use it when I detox because it keeps me from being hungry. I use it a lot of times when I have strawberries. I'll take and put some on a plate and roll strawberries in them and eat it the strawberries that way. I like it much better than stevia. I don't think it has the aftertaste. That's my own personal opinion. But I keep it in my refrigerator and use it. If I come home at night and it's late and I don't want to eat, I put some in my hand to have a couple of handfuls and then I don't feel hungry. So that's something that you can use as well, and we have it available. Okay. Any other questions? Let's, if you want to raise your hand. Okay, Deb McNulty has a question. Deb, can you hear me? You're muted.
Okay, there we go. Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. I went and grabbed my yogurt container. This whole time, I thought I was eating a good yogurt. It's organic, whole milk, plain yogurt, but I'm looking at the ingredients. It's saying cultured, pasteurized, organic milk.
That's
as
okay.
ingredient.
That's all right.
So that
That's all
can,
right.
that,
Yeah,
that's
you're
gonna
not
be on
going to find anything better than that, really.
cool. Thank you. Yay. That's it.
Oh.
That was my world.
Who else has a question? Okay, Jaylene has a question. And I am muted. Jaylene, unmute yourself if you can.
Sorry, I was just
You can
saying,
unmute.
I was
There you
clapping for Deb.
Oh, clapping. Okay. Okay. You don't have a question? Okay. Anybody else have a question? Comment? Nothing? Wow. That's an easy group. Okay. Heather, do you have some? Heather?
Looks like Deb has a question.
Deb. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, Deb. People can't hear me. My co-pilot here. I did.
Deb, did you have another question? I think she's lost her audio.
Okay. All right. Who else? Jenna, you haven't said nothing yet.
Judy's got a question.
Judy,
Oh.
what's your question?
John?
Yes.
Oh, you can hear me. Okay. Is there a dairy-free yogurt, like a soy-based, that would be equally good that's raw and plain in the superfood?
Not that I know of.
Okay. And then the other question I have is it better to chew or to have a juice because of the enzymes when you're eating raw vegetables? Or are they both good in their own way, you know, for different reasons?
Okay, that's a good question. As I said earlier, juicing, you will get the most nutrients, you know, of any way to eat vegetables, okay? Of any way, juicing. But you have to drink it as soon as you juice it, all right? But when you eat, most of us eat in a hurry, okay? Chewing is extremely important. There's a thing that says, Maureen, are you tired? You look, I see you yawning. Chewing, most of us get in a hurry and we just, you know, a couple chews and it's gone. You get a lot of breakdown of digestive enzymes from chewing. Okay, so that question kind of brought some up that I thought about earlier today that I wanted to mention. Another way to get nutrients from your food is to slow down your eating. Slow it down, especially when you're eating the meats and stuff. We have a tendency not to chew it enough. It harms our digestion, it harms our elimination system, etc. So that you get a lot of nutrients from a breakdown of enzymes and nutrition from chewing properly, okay? So that's a good question. So think about that when you're eating. Slow down. Don't eat when you're in a rush and you have to be somewhere in 3 minutes. Take your time, sit down, eat your meal, and enjoy it. And that comes to chewing and taking care of breaking down the digestive enzymes. What is the best yogurt to eat? I see from Maggie. Pure organic yogurt. Okay. Around here, I think I get Stony Brook, or what's the other one? Greek what? Goddess? Greek gods. Okay. You know, plain organic yogurt. Don't get the one with the you know, flavors, that type of thing in it. Stay away from those. All right. What else do we have? Questions? Cholesterol, better to chew. Okay, we already talked about that. What's a plain whole milk Greek yogurt?
Go ahead, Deb. You have another question?
Yes. Grass-fed beef. So I have up until this point been eating it just like once a week. So does that mean if I'm not on the candida or whatever, is it better, okay to have it more than once a week?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And then my other question was, coconut flakes. I love dried coconut flakes with my nuts or seeds. Where does that fall? It's unsweetened.
Coconut flakes obviously are processed. Okay, so that's why they're flakes. So I would put them in your, I would put it in the next one. So I would do, yeah, I would do the moderation on that. Okay, just like dried fruit and stuff like that. People think dried fruit is healthy, but it's not, all right, because it's processed. So moderation. Okay. What was Deb's first question? I was gonna, Deb, what was the question you just asked first before?
Oh, the first fed beef is okay more than once a week?
Okay, yes. A lot of people, and Dr. Linda Nelson said this when this came out, she just refused to eat beef. She said, I'm not eating beef, okay, because it's been, I don't know, 1980 something since the last time she ate beef, and when she ate beef, just didn't set right, okay? Use discretion. If, for a lot of you who have not eaten beef, you might find your elimination changes a little bit, different things like that. Cut it up small pieces, do some stuff like that. Don't, if it bothers your stomach and you find out it's hard on your stomach, you don't have to eat it. But eat, if you like fish, I think that the wild-caught salmon is much, much better for our digestion and for nutrients anyway. So I would go that direction. But to answer the question, Debbie, yes, you can have it more than once a week, okay? But if you want good beef, all right? Good beef. Don't go in and just say this looks good or whatever.
No, we buy the Australian fed.
Okay.
Always Australian.
Yep. And Australian is actually some of the very, very best you can get. And that's why, because their animals graze free range, which means they get access to all the nutrients. Where in America, a lot of times they only get one or two different grains, and that's what they grow up on. Okay, so if you can get that, that's even better. And Deb flies all over the world, so or travels all over the country. So we'll have her bring us some back.
United still has a daily flight from Sydney with all this madness, so that's why we're still getting our grass-fed beef from Australia.
You know my address, right, Deb?
Yeah.
Okay, who else has a question? Anybody else? No, the can has already been processed. Okay, so the wild-caught salmon in a can is not. That is not considered. It's just like eating green beans from a can. They're processed. Okay, they're not going to put anything in a can that's not processed. So that's good marketing because people say it's easier, et cetera, and it'll last longer. Your canned salmon will last forever if you leave it in the can, but your real salmon, you let it sit around, it's not going to last. Okay, so that would be no. Where do DKO, no sweetener, nibs fall? That would be the nibs. Was it dough? Cacao? That would be in the moderation. Anybody else? Judy, do you have another question?
No, I don't. Thank you, though.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Jenna, do you have something you want to say? Jenna's being quiet tonight. Oh, all right. If anybody has questions, you can reach out. Okay. You can reach out to us. Yeah, Patty's gonna, we in the corporate sense, Patty's gonna email the Vitivore list to everybody, so you'll have it. And if you have questions, let us know. The other thing that I do want to bring up, and every week when I do classes, I like to do certain things. And when we had it in-house, we'd always give away services and stuff. But because we're doing it remote, I am putting on our supers, which is the super greens, the daily antioxidants. I'll add the Simply Sweet and the Heart Healthy. So, and the Radiance. I'll even throw in the Radiance. We'll do the Radiance discounted for this coming week. So whatever, for those of you on maintenance plans and that stuff, you get an extra 10% off of all price, whatever you order. So if you need that, you want it for your health, for the taste, whatever it is, order them and you'll get, and so Jenna's listening, Patty's here, so we all know that when you call and order those from now through next Thursday, okay? So now through next Thursday, all those 10% off. Stock up if you want them. I mail them to you, no charge for shipping. Help yourself. Okay, we want you to be well. We want you to be healthy. We're not living in fear, because if we do the right things, we don't have to. If we don't do the right things, we probably have to. All right. So please take care of yourselves. Understand that we're here for you. As I said, JPJ, John, Patty, Jenna, we're here for you. Okay. We're here Friday Night Live. We're good next week. Our topic is sleep. Okay.
I
Is there
think that
anybody
it
else?
should, I think it should be Jenna, Patty, John, because, you know, ladies first.
Okay, Ann, I hear you, but let me see. I already got that ingrained in my head. JPJ, John, Patty, Jenna. So I take it by age. That's really what it is. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Sleep. Anybody out there have any issues with sleep? Okay, we're going to talk about sleep. Okay, Muriel, I see your hand raised. Okay. We're going to talk about sleep. Also, I just want to tell you that if other people, you know people, they can sign on. All you got to do is tell them, send them the email. They can sign on. They don't have to be a client. Anybody can come on and listen and learn. All right. And Kim, who do you have sitting there next to you? Kim can't talk? Okay.
That's Michael.
Michael. Okay. Hello, Michael. How are you? No? Did Michael, did you learn anything? Okay. There we go. Okay. Robert, you haven't said a word. I can't believe you're not going to say nothing the whole time.
Hey, things happen, John, you know?
When Bob is sitting next to his wife, he's very quiet. When he's not, look out. So, you know. Okay. If there's no other questions.